English with Deck. So you know those mornings where you wake up and it's a bit hectic, you know? Like things just don't go smoothly. Things don't go quite to plan. Everything is just a bit off. Maybe the timing, maybe something breaks or something, I don't know, just burns when you're cooking your toast. Cooking your toast or whatever. And those mornings happen. It's just one of them things. You're trying to get out of the house and it's just chaos. I envy those people who somehow manage to just have a tranquil morning. Their morning is just a walk in the park. How do you do it? If you are one of those people, let me know. Send me a message. I want to know. Seriously, like how? My mornings are, I don't know. We as a family unit, we're not, definitely not late sleepers. We are relatively early risers. I guess yeah. When you've got two young kids, it's just bonkers. Like some, especially kids, adults too, but especially kids will wake up in, well, who knows what mood the next day. So each day is definitely a different kettle of fish from the last one. Let's say that is a great phrase, by the way. A kettle of fish. It's a different kettle of fish, meaning it's just completely different from blah blah blah. Yeah. So at the moment, for example, obviously I've got a 1 year old. She's, well, a 1 year old, so she's doing her thing. And then my 6 year old girl, she's really trying hard these days. She's trying to, study a little bit extra in the mornings and after school. She's really trying to prove to herself, I think, or as much as us, but to herself that she's ready to go into the next stage of education, elementary school. By the way, in Japan, they start school in April, which is kind of like, what? April? Yeah, I know. But yeah, they start school in April, so why not September? There is a reason I cannot remember off the top of my head. But yeah, anyway, I will talk about that another time. Great idea for a topic there. Mm-mm. Anyway, yes, they start school in April in Japan, so she's really gearing up. She's getting ready to transition into the equivalent of elementary school. So it would be like the British primary year. Oh, we don't use grade; we say year. So grade primary year 3, 4? No, 2, 2 or 3. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, she's doing that stuff and making sure she has all her stuff ready. That's another thing. Plus, my wife, she's getting ready to leave for the day at her place of work. And then there's me. I do some work in the morning sometimes. Other times I'm trying to study or just sort stuff out in the house as well. So it's everyone's doing different things, but also trying to work in sync, and it's bloody crazy. But it's working. I stuttered there because I really couldn't think of what to say. But yeah, it works and it's going to work a bit better. Once things smooth out, we get used to the routine. Things sort of work out. They always do. You figure out, you find your flow, you find your rhythm, and you follow that until something else changes. Anyway, but because there is a bit of chaos and stuff, things get, well, neglected. neglected a little. Like not cleaning as in the house is dirty, not at all. Pretty proud of my house. It's a very wooden house, so it can be a bit tough to clean occasionally. But it's not spotless, but it's pretty nice. It's clean, no issues. But especially with the naming no names, the 1 year old, certain bits of food might get carried around. It happens, kind of like a dog. um, and yeah, so what food that gets carried is usually around the house is usually the food which is stuck to clothing from said culprit. And I guess somehow some rice, and I say some rice, literally a grain of rice, a single grain of rice had ended up wedged. It had gone under the door of for the kitchen door. It had gone under the door of the kitchen door, and it had gotten jammed. It had gotten trapped under between the door and the floor, so that whenever you opened the door, the rice was dragged along with the door. And when you close the door, the rice, this grain of rice, this one grain of rice was dragged back with the door. And this goes on and on. But the rice, the grain of rice was obviously positioned perfectly that as you opened and closed the door, it was literally carving, taking a tiny bit of wood off the floor. It was shaving a little bit, such a small amount of wood off from the floor. Meaning that after a while, there was literally a mark you could see with your eyes. I say a while, I'm talking a morning, maybe. Yeah, this was this morning, and it definitely did not happen yesterday. Like, I did not notice this yesterday. Maybe it was under there yesterday, but this morning, anyway, is when it all noticed. And this rice was just. But I didn't know the rice was there. So I assumed the hinge was loose or something. However, I just happened to slide a piece of paper under the door and something popped out. I'm looking. And I finally saw that grain of rice. I was like, what? No way! That is impossible! Anyway, I lined it up with the groove, the mark on the floor, and ran it along the groove, the rice, using my finger. And it lined up perfectly. Who would have known? Wow. Well, I'm amazed. That can happen. Who would have known it? I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. But I would have thought the rice grain would have, disintegrated or at least broken apart. But no. It decided to leave its mark. And leave its mark it did.